like the imagery, especially this time of year when we're all hungry for a little bit of green. But we increase equitable access to vegetable gardens and the resources people and communities need to grow their own food. This is just a little, I don't even know who said this, I think just someone in our office, but this is like the guiding thing I often think about. Just imagine a world where everyone knows where their food comes from, and I think a lot about that regarding the work that we do in schools. So I'll share a little bit about our 3 different programs, or like our program umbrellas at Backyard Growers. So we have community programs, school programs, and then I gotta come up with a better word other than consulting, but basically the work that we do outside of Gloucester. So our community programs, and this is an aerial shot of some of the community garden beds at Burnham's Field at like the height of the season. So we have 3 community-based programs. We have 6 community gardens in Gloucester. One of them is our largest, and that's at Burnham's Field, and we have 52 garden beds there that serve 52 different households in Gloucester. That's our only community garden that's not attached to a housing neighborhood, so our other community gardens are scattered throughout the city, mostly at Gloucester Housing Authority neighborhoods. And then we have a backyard garden program, which is where we started with helping folks grow vegetables in their backyard. And then we have a grow bag garden program, which is like a modular container garden program, which is our newest community program other than the farmers market. Yeah, and they're kind of broken out here. There's some nice pictures of some of our lovely gardeners. This is an aerial shot of one of our newer builds. The garden's been there for a bit, but this is at Willowwood, which is a Gloucester Housing Authority neighborhood, and we partnered with the Cornerstone Creative. They built us this lovely pergola. Their motto is mentorship through craftsmanship, and they work with justice-involved youth to teach woodworking skills. So that was a great partnership with them. Then we have our school programs, where we work with, it's just like a lot of nice photos, but we work with 100% of Gloucester public school students from preschool all the way through 8th grade. And the way that we do that is through 3 different specific programs. So we have our Salad Days program, which is actually starting like right now, where we go into the schools and we plant salad seeds at the school gardens with every single student. They come back and harvest in a couple of months, and they eat that salad in their classroom. When they come back and they harvest, or in the cafeteria I should say, they also plant a fall crop. And so each grade plants a different crop, and they come back in the fall and they harvest that. And then the third way that we interact with our students in Gloucester is through our taste test program. And so we bring that fresh produce into the cafeterias at all the schools other than the high school, and we offer tastes of produce prepared in like really fun, interactive, and engaging ways. And we have giant veggie cutouts, and there's stickers and there's stamps, and it's like a high energy thing that just gets the kids really excited about tasting what they've grown.
Who is the cook for that?
So we have one staff person. She is amazing, Meg Tenzar, and she manages all the gardens, the school gardens in Gloucester, and she prepares all the food. And I'm always like, we need another program person for the schools. Meg is amazing. She has 3 kids. 2 of them go to West Parish, but I always joke that she manages like a non-contiguous farm across Gloucester, and then also like prepares the food in the cafeteria with the not with the help of the kitchen staff, but with their permission. And sometimes we use the open doors kitchen just so we don't crowd people out. Yeah, she does all the prep.
There was recently a push. My daughter goes to Plum Cove. All this that you're saying, and I actually volunteered with Backyard Growers years ago.
Yeah.
But she comes home with the recipes.
Yes.
And says, "Oh my gosh, we had sweet potato this, or we had brownie fudge, all these different things."
Yeah.
So excited. She's always
great.
so excited. And they're also pushing in the PTO to get parents to partner to oversee some of these gardens, so that
we do have parent volunteers that help, especially with watering in the summer, and we have parent volunteers that help with the taste tests, and we will often just have volunteers that can help her prepare food as well. But
we're so glad, we're so grateful to have you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And with the farmers market this year, it's been really fun this past year to tie in some of this stuff. Like we started doing taste tests at the farmers market to help show parents like this is what we do with your kids, but also you grown-ups, like, come and taste this, and like we're highlighting produce from the vendors too, and just to kind of tie all these things together. You can see like the fun. Taste tests are really fun. We try to make them pretty like energetic, and those are just some of our impact numbers. You can kind of see where we are all over Cape Ann. Oh, and then this is the farmers market. And so the farmers market, we have our launch date officially now for this year. So June 19th, which is a Wednesday, 2:30 to 6, I want to say. I know it starts at 2:30.
Wednesdays, always Wednesday.
It's going to be Wednesdays. You can imagine that we have a lot of criteria within that we have to exist. And there's a farmers market in Ipswich on Thursdays that a lot of our vendors go to. We really, I know I mentioned in the video, wanted the farmers market to serve both the farm and food producers as well as the customers. And as someone who's managed a lot of farms, I very much know how much you do not want to have to go to farmers markets on the weekend. And it kind of changes the feel of the market from like a locals market to a tourist market. And not that there's a good one or a bad one. We want both. We want farmers to have a ton of sales, but we really focused on the farmers market being food centric and like a place where people can go and restock their food every single week. I thought it was me. So Wednesdays ends up being, we wanted Thursdays. I will admit we wanted Thursdays, but it wasn't available.
This is someone's back.
Oh, and then Freya makes it into all of our images. It's the same little girl. And so we are always looking for folks to engage with our work.
Where is the market? Where is, you said
it's at Burnham's Field. It's
Yeah.
at Burnham's Field in
That's what I
downtown Gloucester. There's ample parking, which is very important in Gloucester. And we have all the same vendors that we had last year, maybe one or two different. I don't know. Did any of you get to go to the market last year?
Mm-hmm.
It's really a special farmers market. I'd encourage you to go. We had 7 farms, we had at least 4 bakers, seafood, meat, eggs. We also have an arts component to the market, where you saw some of the imagery in the video, but we had we had an artist in residence last summer, Maya Matson, and she made this incredible like community-centric art experience where you could come every week, and that's what the kids were doing with some of the flowers. And she made, so each week you could come and make a square on this like pulp paper that she had made, embed it with seeds and flowers. At the end of the season, all of them had been dried. She sewed them together into a beautiful quilt that was on display at the Cape Ann Museum. And now this year we're gonna plant it, because the whole idea was like this was a seed embedded community like seed quilt that we made. And so I don't know what our art component will be this summer, but we do always have Art Haven there giving free workshops for kids. And I don't know, if I'm a huge thrift store fan. I love the Second Glance, and they came and they had like a tent a few times during the summer with just kind of like curated things that you could buy, like a little mini thrift store pop up. Lots going on at the farmers market, and we'll have music this summer too. So I really encourage you to check it out. So that's the bulk of what we do at Backyard Growers. And right now is our busiest time of year when we're kicking things off. We have a lot of workshops available. So we have our container gardening workshop coming up pretty soon. We offer square foot gardening workshops frequently throughout the spring. And then also at the farmers market, we have workshops every single week that are designed to be drop-in friendly. So you can kind of come and someone will be teaching about how to sucker your tomatoes, or how to do this or how to do that. We have a couple educational garden beds at Burnham's Field now. And so there's ample opportunity for learning with us throughout the season too. Can I answer any questions? Anything else you want me to touch on? Yeah.
We had a little chat about the news you received today.
Oh, yes. I was talking to Reverend Sue about funding. And so our board and myself did a 9-month feasibility study, assessment study before we decided to take on the farmers market, to decide if it was something that we had the capacity for and that it was mission aligned. We're a very small organization. We do an enormous amount of work with a team of 6 people and like a really small budget. And we felt like it was not only just a great thing to do for the community, but also a strategic decision for us because it would make us eligible for USDA funding that prior to running a farmer's market, we wouldn't fit quite squarely into with the work that we do. And so that was a big reason why we felt like we could financially take on the cost of running a farmer's market. I currently have about $776,000 sitting out there in grant decisions that I am certain we will receive none of. And I actually just got like the first email of that today being like, this funding has been canceled, because that's actually just a handful of grants that represents that amount of money. Similarly, the city had approached us about if we wanted to run the farmers market, which is what spurred the feasibility study that we did. They made a commitment to us for some of our startup costs and the chance to renew. And the chance to renew is very unlikely because that funding is also federal. And so we're in this situation right now where it's just extremely tight. Like we knew we were going to grow quicker than we had planned to do the farmers market, but it was a strategic decision, you know, something that we knew landed us squarely in several realms of USDA funding, and now none of that is available anymore. And so we are trying to tighten up the hatches and figure things out. So anyway, spread the word. We're not in the same situation as a lot of organizations that are direct service that just lost tons of their money, but it's something that, you know, we're figuring out if we can do the farmers market in 2026. We're figuring out how this affects our growth in future years. I think it's something that could certainly stunt our work. Yeah.
I noticed we're doing some work with schools too, and I noticed that in all of the schools you seem to have totally new beds.
Yes.
Did you get some funding or something?
Not totally new. This year, like recently, you mean?
Well, or the lumber seems, maybe you've always had beds there, but it looks like they've all been sort of refurbished.
Yeah, so we have not replaced, so not all of them are totally new, but I'm trying to remember which ones. We've replaced about 3 of the school garden, most of the beds this past year, because they were about 10, like I actually built a lot of them in my early 20s, and I'm almost 40. This is just untreated pine, and so we rebuilt some. The cost of building raised beds is pretty manageable. I mean, now the cost of lumber is going up and things like that. You know, the building center is often a great partner of ours and will donate lumber. But yes, we're trying to keep up with them. So I'm actually glad you noticed that some of them
look great.
Yeah, we actually just installed metal beds at the preschool too.
Yeah, I guess at West Parish, they all look new, and then at Plum Cove too, they look new. So
yeah, we've done a lot of repairs. It had to happen. It's something we've been trying to figure out for a few years. Yeah. And we're putting in, so we have 2 new gardens planned right now. One at the high school, which has been a place where we've always, in the history of the organization, been trying to figure out like, how do we interact with high school students? Like, what's the right fit? Kind of similar at the middle school level too. And we solicited a lot of feedback from teachers and students over the past year and decided that once kids get to those older grades, the demands on the teachers and the curriculum and everything, it makes it really hard for us to get their in-school time. We're not, actually our school garden manager is an educator, but that's not totally what we do. So anyways, long story short, we're launching after-school programming at O'Malley through the O'Malley Academy, which I'm really excited about. And we're putting in a new garden there. And then likewise, there's a garden club, a youth-led garden club at the high school. So to backtrack a little, the high school has had a garden for a while that we built a number of years ago, but they had to take it down when they were putting up the seawall. And so the garden club had existed for a while, reached out to us a couple years ago, and just asked us if we could help them get a garden back. And so we have plans to level the whole area back there, because when they took out the garden, it just got a little bit crazy, and put in a new garden, hopefully this year, but funding dependent on that one. And then our garden at O'Malley is kind of in the back of the school, you wouldn't really notice where it is, and it has a wild mouse infestation right now because of construction. That's like not a thing that has happened to any of our other gardens. So we have to build a new garden there. It's like completely not usable. It actually looks like hilarious if you're in there. You see like the little eyes everywhere. So, but it was in kind of like a weird spot anyway. So now there's a lawn in front of the ice rink at O'Malley. I don't know if you guys can picture that big flat space, but we are putting in a pretty large 15-bed garden there.
Wow, great.
We're really excited about. One of the things that we want to start doing now that it's time to reinvigorate a lot of our gardens is just focus on making them inspiring spaces. You know, our gardens historically have always been just the least expensive way that you can put in a garden. And like, that's fine. And this doesn't have to cost more, but we really are trying to put intention around like, what does this space feel like? Like, is there an arbor that you walk through and it just makes you think about what's possible, not just in the garden, but in the world? And like, how can this be a catalyst for something bigger, especially at the schools? So we're excited to kind of play around with that. We've started using some metal garden beds when it makes sense. We're not like making a full shift to metal, but they last a lot longer. And when there are times when we have to relocate gardens that we don't have any control over, we can't foresee happening, like at the high school when they put in that wall. And when you have the metal beds, you don't lose that resource. They can kind of get picked up and moved elsewhere. So there's a few shifts that you'll probably see coming. We also got our new logo last year, all these little veggies and everything, and so the idea being like, yeah, all of Gloucester is our backyard.
What is your operating budget?
It is about $600,000. Yeah.
And have you applied for like a number of like local grants, like Cummings Foundation?
We applied for all of them. Yes, we have Cummings Foundation. We actually are the recipient of a 10-year grant of theirs. Yeah. So about half of our budget comes from grant funding, and about half comes from individual donors. And prior to the federal funding that we had applied for this year, we don't normally rely on very much federal funding, which has mostly been because we don't fit squarely in as like food access or small scale farming or something like that.
And then you did, and then you didn't.
I know, now we have this farmer's market.
Does the Commonwealth have any support?
What do you mean?
Massachusetts?
Just the state?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, we apply for things from the state. I can't think off the top of my head what exactly right now is out there. There's a lot of school food initiatives, but often like some of the state funding, there's a trickle down from federal and where it comes from, and that's kind of the thing that I'm learning more about right now. It's like, for us, you know, we do a lot of work with Pathways, for example, and their funding has been hit very hard, as you can imagine, and that, you know, we are still realizing like what the impact will be on us in a lot of those different partnerships and that kind of thing. But we are still nimble and resilient and creative with our fundraising, and so I'm hopeful. The community in Cape Ann has always supported us, so I think we will persevere. I think it's just a matter of what that will look like, and you know how that can alter our work and what we plan to do in the future. Yeah.
Is there any connection with the Essex Technological School? Because there's a lot of
I haven't like worked directly with them. I think we like overlap in some ways, but we don't have like a direct partnership with them. That does lead me, I forgot one fun thing a new thing that we're starting, actually, like right now, I think on Monday is the first day we're going, is with the Department of Youth Services, the Juvenile Detention Center in Middleton. Essex Tech had built a greenhouse and garden beds there, but then ceased doing programming for whatever reason. In a typical Gloucester scenario, I happened to meet their program director at Stage Fort Park when we were both like pushing our kids on the swings. And we got to chatting. This was 2 years ago. And so now finally we have a contract with them to launch programming that's starting on Monday as part of a Skills Up job training program, which is Massachusetts funding.
Yeah,
so that's some of the ways that it comes to us. So we're And we have tie-ins for the farmers market that we planned for that, because they have this really incredible facility at the Juvenile Detention Center where they have an art studio. My friend that I grew up with who oversaw our rebrand is actually like amazing in his field. He did this for free and for fun, but he's helping with, so basically we're planning on having the youth in the detention center grow lots of things, but one of them will be something, bless you, that they can sell at the farmer's market, or we'll sell on their behalf. And my friend Adam's gonna do the branding with them remotely and have all these cool business tie-ins, and like a really fun curriculum there. But yeah, so excited about that. Yeah, got a lot going on. Yeah, so I hope you guys, if you wanna join any of the things that we're doing, anything we're hosting, all of our events are always right up on the website. We have a fundraiser on Sunday at Cape Ann Lanes. Yes, this is gonna be really fun. We have things like all throughout the season. We have seed giveaways. So we do a lot of work to source seeds, and then we just actually give them out in the community. So those are free, and we started working with True Love Seeds this year, which is a really amazing seed company, and they source seeds from all over the world. And so we work with a lot of immigrants in Gloucester, and it gives us the opportunity to connect them with actual seeds for crops and foods from wherever they are from. And we had a really amazing moment a few weeks ago, because this is a new thing that we're doing, where just like everyone in our office could hear one of our gardeners on the phone screaming with joy that we had got her Afghan leeks because she hasn't tasted them in 4 years. And so this has been like a really cool way to connect people to different parts of who they are. And then we have all other kinds of seeds too. We have a seedling sale. I'm forgetting all the dates, so forgive me. But our seedling sale will be at Oak to Ember this year on the patio outside, which I'm excited about, just because hoping it'll be a beautiful sunshiny day. And we get all of our seedlings from Cedar Rock. They're a really important partner of ours, and we get all of the soil and compost that we grow in from Black Earth Compost. So we've got a good crew of folks in this community supporting backyard growers.
Repeat your start date in June?
June 18th is the first day of the farmers market at Burnham's Field.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, and it'll be another great season there.
Any other questions? Well,
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.